Good morning, everyone. I have a fun card to show you, and this is just a variation on the trifold card that I did a couple weeks ago, I believe. So this was the original one that I did, and I did a video on this, but I thought I would just show you a few things on this one that I did differently. I used designer series paper on this one and more colors, and in this one's more monochromatic, and I love it. I love how it turned out. And it started with the paper pumpkin. The June paper pumpkin is the welcome in, and I'm going to show you a couple of samples a couple of variations of the cards that I did. So when you get your kit, you can make them like this, but I just can hardly ever leave things alone, so I'm always thinking, what can I do to that to make it my style? I mean, Stampin' Up! Gives us a wonderful place to start with these kits, and then you can just go crazy with them. You know, you can make them like they're intended, or, you know, just have some fun with it. And there are a lot of demonstrators that do alternatives, and there's also a Facebook group, Paper Pumpkin. You can go on there and find ideas, but I did this one. I thought this one turned out really cute. Get this out of the way here. So what I did with this one is I took my borders that I love so much, the countryside corners, and all these beautiful dies that are in there. I just love these. So I cut the card base that was in there. Was a card base just like this, and it's really thin, so I don't think it would hurt your die. It doesn't seem to hurt mine. It might make them a little bit, you know, flip them up a little bit, but you can just press them back down. So I think I used the biggest. Yeah, I used the biggest die. So what you do is you want to bring your die off of the edge just a little bit so that you still have the connection right here, and then it will cut the rest of your shape out and leave you a nice hinge right there. So you don't want to cut that unless you want them cut apart, you know, but just right like that, run it through your Stamp and Emboss machine, and you are left with this nice base. So then this one, the next one, I didn't change it too much. I just had some pieces. If you're like me, you have pieces everywhere. So this is, I just went scavenging through some of my stuff that I had. Like I had some leftover pieces from an online card class. I had some pieces left over from a card that I did a video on, and I just put them in here, and then I just go crazy with them. So if you're making cards and you're cutting pieces out, go ahead and cut yourself some extra ones, because you never know. Put them in a little baggie, and then they'll come in handy later. So what I did with this one is I took our Wink of Stella, and then I just went over the flowers, and it's just enough that it gives it a fun effect. So this is actually from the Welcome In Paper Pumpkin kit, and you had the opportunity to buy a set of dies that went with the kit. No, I had it. Oh, here it is. So sometimes Stampin' Up! Does an add-on with their paper pumpkins, and this was the add-on, and that's what I cut. I cut out, I stamped Calypso coral, and then I just cut that vase out with that. And then there are some little, there are the leaves, and I didn't use the flowers on anything yet, but you know, there's still pieces left. I might come up with something, but I thought these turned out really cute. So if you want to, you can get a refill. I don't know if there are any actual kits left, but you could get a refill and make some of these cards, and you get enough supplies to make 9 cards, which is really nice. It's a nice, gives you a nice bunch of cards to send out to people. Okay, let me show you how I made this card. So you want to start with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Calypso coral and just put it in your paper cutter and go ahead and do your scoring. You're going to score at 3.5 and 7. So get this here, so 3.5 right here. And you might as well score the whole sheet because you know you're going to make more than one card. And then just do it at 7. Then while you have it in the track, just go down to 10.5 because you need to cut a 1/2 inch off the end. And just put that over in your paper pieces for later. So then you want to cut it at 4.25. So now you have 2 card bases. Isn't that cool? I love it. That's what I do with all my card bases. I always score the whole sheet and then I cut them out, and that way you have two pieces ready to go. So what you want to do is you want to crease these, burnish them really well. So, and you want to make sure that this flap goes this way when you're putting your card together. Ask me how I know this. Yep. So you want to burnish this, turn it over, burnish it again, just so it lays nice and flat. Isn't that cool? Let me bring the card back in. So you might as well go ahead and burnish your other one while you're at it. So it's mountain and valley. Those are your folds. That's what they're called. So that's a mountain, then there's your valley. And then when it sets up, looks like a Z. Pretty cool, isn't it? So I have a few. I'm going to be making these. And what I want to do is I want to show you how I did this really pretty embossing here. Isn't that pretty? That's the countryside, no, that's not the name of it. It is, oh, darn. I usually take and put the name on here because I can never remember anything, because I think they should just name them all the same. If it's in the same suite, it should all be the same. So we're going to call this the countryside embossing folder. So what you want to do, I'm going to put this up here. So you want that really pretty light Calypso coral, and we're going to bring in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Swing around here and grab it. So this is my full-size machine. I have a little one, but the little one doesn't allow you, the mini doesn't allow you to do the full-size folder. So if you're going to get one, go ahead and get the big one first, and then if you want to treat yourself to the mini, you can do that later. So these are the pieces of your cut and emboss machine. So you have the platform, and you have the platform, and then you have this base piece right here. What do they call it? It's got a name. Number 2. So this is the, I'm going to call it the extender. So that usually stays on for cutting, and then you have 2 plates, and then you would sandwich your die in between and cut. But for this one, I'm going to do embossing. So you need this plate, and this is plate number 4. So when you are embossing, you start with this. You have 1, 2, and 4. So we're going to put this right here. And I'm going to show you what I did. So you'll need your pieces of white cardstock, and you'll need 3 of them. And then I actually have this roller left over from when Stampin' Up! Used to have these, but you could use your blending brush too if you want to, but I like how it turned out with this, so I'm going to use it. So what you do is you bring in your Calypso coral ink pad, and you just load this up. I'm going to do one with this, and then I'm going to do one with the blending brush and see how different it looks. So you always want to ink up the side that has the Stampin' Up! Logo. So you just ink it up. Just go right in there. Get some ink in there. Okay, then bring in your little piece of paper and just make sure that it's straight. You know, you don't want a crooked piece. So then when you run it through, always run it through hinge first. This keeps your embossing folder from cracking. So hinge first, stick it in your machine, and then just run it through. Oops. Isn't that pretty? Look how pretty that is. Love it. It pops up the white and then presses the ink down into the recessed pieces. So let's do this with a blending brush. So let's load it up. Just go right in there and get your ink in there. This might be a little darker, but that's okay. All kinds of variations are good. So then just bring in another piece. And remember your logo. Straight. That looks good. Okay, hinge first. Gotta listen to myself. Just roll this through. Oh, looks good. So the blending brush is just as good. Let's do the blending brush since these are available for you. So we'll load it back up again one more time. We need one more. Just color it in. This color is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so we're going to put this in here. Close it up. Hinge first. Put your lid on. And crank it through. Nice, right? I love it. So you can either take this to the sink and clean it, or if you're like me and you don't want to do it right away, just take a wipe and just wipe it out. It's good as new. And then later, you know, if you're not gonna make a bunch more of these, which I am going to, just take it to the sink, run it under some water. Don't put these in the dishwasher. They don't need to be put in the dishwasher, and it would not be good for them. So let's put this to the side, and I'll show you the card. I'm going to put this out of my way here. So this does fold up, just so you know. Some people, they don't have a cut and emboss machine, but it folds up really nice, right like that, just for, takes up less room. Out of the way. All right, so you're going to need a card base. I have several. Now it's kind of rough on the edges. I'm going to have to work on that. I'm going to take the take my sanding tool and clean that up a little bit. If your edges get frayed because your you might need a new cutting blade, you just take something and sand that off. I have several of the old Stampin' Up. Stampin' Up used to carry these. I wish they would put them back. This one's Memories and More. This one is the one Stampin' Up had, and I love these. These are great for sanding. So you just come along. That way, if your edges are a little frayed, if you are not going for the frayed look in this card, just take your sanding block and just sand that smooth. There you go. Good as new, right? Yeah, love it. Okay, so another tip for the day. Let's put those out of the way. And what you're going to do, you're just going to put these, just make sure your pieces are going up the right way. The flowers face up. We don't want them facing down. So the Tombow mono adhesive is the best thing for adhering your embossed pieces, because it gets in between the crevices. I'm going to give this another little burnish because it's not, I want it to be flat. There we go. Now it behaves. All right. So here we go. That way I can tell if it's straight. There is nothing worse than a crooked card. Let's see. My eraser here. Sometimes if you have a little glue leak out, these erasers, a high polymer eraser, Pentel, I don't know where I got it. I just keep it handy all the time because there's, you know, you don't want glue all over the place. Isn't that pretty on there? So gorgeous. So our next one, this way. This glue is the best. Put this down here. So beautiful, isn't it? Love it. Okay, they're all facing the correct way. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you is how I colored my flowers. So these are from the Cheerful Daisies. And I love the Cheerful Daisies. So this is how they turned out. Aren't they beautiful? I love how I got the edges to curl. And I'm not going to do anything to the leaves because I just like them like that. So I'm going to bring in another piece of paper just to protect my work surface. As you can tell, it's been speckled a lot, but that's okay. I love messy techniques. So you will need your water painter. And I like the one with the big fat tip on it. I love that one. So, and you're also going to need a sponge dauber. Love, love, love sponge daubers. They're so much fun. So I'm going to bring in my pieces. Might as well put my leaves up here. And then here are my pieces. Now these ones don't need speckled, so we're going to put those to the side. I want them to stay white. I need that piece. And then this is a piece from the Masterfully Made set. And I love how it looks like it's torn on the edges. It's so pretty. Okay, and then this is a piece from the Paper Pumpkin, Hello Friend. This piece, and we need this piece. Okay, so you can do these different ways. So I'm going to use my sponge dauber, and just be careful with this one because it is very delicate. There's not a whole lot holding it together, so take your time. I have broken a few of them, and so irritating. So let's give this a sponge and just sponge that on the edges. And then you can go ahead and sponge these if you want to. Okay. Or you can always bring in your water painter and just, if you like that watercolor look, which I absolutely love the watercolor look, so I want to drag some of this a little bit, and then I love, love, love to speckle stuff. If you've ever been to my classes, you know I like to speckle stuff. So what you do is you take your water painter get that nice and wet. And I just took some re-inker and put in my lid. And I almost always have re-inker in my lid. I mean, if it bothers you, you can wipe it out. But, you know, I know I'm going to be using it again anyway. So what's the point of cleaning it, right? It's like, and then you just speckle. And how much ever speckles that you like is how many you're going to put on there. Like a lot of speckles. I saw my Gerber Daisy, and it's a lemon lolly color, and it is just beautiful. And it has these speckles on the leaves. I never saw that before. It's like so awesome. So, you know, how much ever you want on there, you know, I could just go crazy and speckle these guys to death, but I'm going to just leave that as is. So then, a lot of times I'll just give it a spritz. And then you can either wait for them to dry, or you can hit it with a heat gun. I'm going to leave these for a minute and see how much they curl, and we're going to do the front piece, and then we're going to come back in and put some copper on them. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold these up a little bit, and while it's wet, that's a good time to manipulate it. Just don't try to do the bone folder with this, because like I said, it's really delicate. This one is. The other two have more to them, but this one is just delicate. So, and then what you want to do with these, you want to cut them apart. So just cut right here. I think it's 4 cuts, maybe 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these leaves off too, because I want to use them. I want to put them where I want them to be. So while you're at this point, go ahead and take your bone folder and curl these back. So you want to curl them away, and the other ones, they're curling forward. So curl these away right like that. These are going to be on the bottom. Okay, and you can curl this guy. I'm going to go ahead and hit this one, because this one you do need some color right on the edge of this daisy. So let's go ahead and do this. So you don't want this really dark. Maybe. Pretty, isn't it? Love, love, love it. Love it. All right, so we're going to put these to the side a minute. We'll build our first piece. Let me bring the card back in so you can see what we're doing. Put this down here. And if you want a PDF of this card, just send me an email at 3kaufmans@gmail.com and tell me you'd like to be added to my mailing list. I send out the video and a PDF, so I just need your permission to add you to the list. All right, so here we go. So we're gonna start with the first panel. I forgot to stamp this. I like the Just a Note. And all I did was I stamped off with the daisy from the Fresh as a Daisy, or Cheerful Daisy. So I stamped in the ink, stamped off, and then stamped on here. So then we'll do Just a Note. Oh, and I actually did it in a different color, but I did it in a copper clay, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this since I have it sitting out on the table. It'll be all right. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to bring in your pieces of the white. Oh, here they are. I put them here so I could find them. So to get the placement right on these, I'll show you what I did. So you can have a piece of cardstock, you can use your paper trimmer, whatever's the easiest. So this is a 5.5 inch. So what I do is I line this up at the bottom. Make sure that this is actually in the frame. So you want to line this up at the bottom, and then the white piece, you know that you don't want it to go any further than that, because you don't want it, you want to be able to stick it in a regular envelope. You can even bring it down just a tiny bit so that you know that it's going to fit in that envelope. I've got a lot of layers to this, and I popped it up on dimensionals, so I always put it in a bigger envelope anyway. I don't put it in a regular size envelope, but if you don't want all the dimension and all the stuff that's popped up, feel free to put it in a regular envelope. But I would suggest, if you're going to take the time to make this pop up and look beautiful, just get a bigger envelope. Just that way the person that's getting it knows that it's going to be pretty when it gets there. So we want to make sure that we only put glue where we want it to be. So just take your time, line this up, and then you don't want glue to come any further than that. You don't want it to squeeze out the edges. So just add your glue. Make sure that you center it on both sides. You want it to be centered. You want your bottom piece to be straight. Get your first one straight, and then your other ones will be straight as well. So there we go. Got the start of that. So then you need your little pieces, and this is a piece from the paper pumpkin, and these were card bases. And if you notice, the little animals are sideways, but it doesn't matter to me. I knew this way I could get more out of it if I cut it going the wrong way. And really, it didn't bother me that they were going the wrong way. I love this paper so much. I wish Stampin' Up! Would have this as a designer series paper and not just in a paper pumpkin. But if you want to make the card just like I'm making it, you will need a paper pumpkin refill so that you can cut up your card bases. So then, that one's good. And we'll go ahead and put these ones on. So what you do for this one is you line it up. Line it up like this so that you know where it's going to be. And then I just flip it over so I know where the glue is going to be. You just want it right here. You don't want to go any further up. Don't want it squishing out. Just put your glue on there. And what I do is I try just to keep it off of the paper for a minute until I know that I have it lined up with the first one. So then, just so you know that when it's folded shut, you don't want pieces sticking up past the other. So this way you know that you have it exactly where it needs to be. So the last one is the fun one, I think. So what you do is you put your glue on here, line this one up right on this one so it's all straight. Leave that laying there, and then just add your glue. Keep your finger up there so you don't go past it. And then you just shut it right like that. Give it a good rub. And there you have it. Isn't that cool? I love it. We might as well go ahead and put our pieces in here. It's okay. It'll be all right. So we'll go ahead and put this last piece in here. Okay, and we're ready to build our card. Love it. Okay, so I use dimensionals, of course, and I just put them on the back. I just use one. You can put more if you want, but I just thought one was plenty. So let's put this down here right like that. And then you're gonna need some of your leaves. And I just put a little glue on the very bottom because I don't like it to all be glued down. I want it to move around and give it some movement. Make sure it gets that glue on there. Didn't look like it was going. Okay. And then just tuck it right under here. Leave as much or as little as you want. And this one, it broke, but that's okay. I just fold it under there and you'll never know. Just put a little glue down at the bottom. Bring that over to the side. And a little glue on this one on the bottom. Put right in there. And then this little guy, it's so cute. Love how that turned out with that copper enamel effects in the center of it. Just so beautiful. So we'll put, I think this one I'm just gonna add some glue. Pop it right down here because it's got a lot of movement already. And then our little daisy up the top, let's put our, just a note down first. That determines where I'm going to put that. So just put that right over like that. And add a little glue to the back side of this one. Isn't that beautiful? I love it so much. Okay, so let's put this to the side. I'm done with the dimensionals. I'm not going to put them on the ones on the inside. And let's bring our pieces back over here. See if they're dry. And then what you want to do, this is, of course, the metallic enamel effects. And you know that copper is my favorite. I've only said it like 200 times already. So what we want to do, let's go ahead and put our flowers together. And this one, it just needs some glue around the edge pieces. Doesn't take a whole lot to hold it down, and you don't want a bunch of glue on it because you don't want the chance of it sneaking out and getting all over your cards. And then just line them up like that. Oops. Don't let it run away from you. I like for the pieces to show. Persuade it into place with our pick tool. Pick tool comes in handy for everything. So this one, these are still a little bit damp, so you got to be careful. I'm going to hit them with the heat tool in a minute anyway. So let's put this one. And I try to look for that weird 3-pointer right there. And then look for the weird 3-pointer on here. So right there. Where are you? Right there. There we go. Okay, put that on there. And then this one. Just want to be careful with them because they are still a little damp. Maybe you won't make yours as wet as mine, but you know, I like like how it turns out with the speckling. I just think it's so pretty. Put that right there. Okay. All right, let's give it some copper. Okay, so this one has 3 little dots right here, and that's what I use to put my copper. Figure out where I'm going to put it, and you just a tiny little bit. Oops, that one. I say a tiny little bit, and it gets away from me, but that's okay. You know, it's just it's all good. And we want to put some on this one. You can put all the way around if you want. I just did 5 dots. And then this one, still damp. You want to put, I did the whole thing. I like it. So you just squeeze just a little bit. Oh, shoot. Somebody's knocking. Hey everybody, I'm back again. Sorry I had to go answer the door. Columbia Gas is here today. They're supposed to change the meter. And of course they ran into an issue and have to come back. It's like, oh, it's okay. We get back to the fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do this center. And I'm going to go all the way around with this, because I just think it's so pretty. Isn't it cool? I love it. So I'm going to bring in the heat tool and heat this up a little bit to dry these so I don't make a mess out of them. It's going to get a little bit loud, but it's worth it. So I'm going to keep these, try to keep them from running away. So I'm going to stick my pick tool down there. Go ahead and stick that right in here to hold it so it doesn't move, and then dry these up so they don't go flying. And this speeds up the process of having to wait for them to dry. Who likes to wait? I don't. I love heat embossing, and this heat tool is really nice. This one is from Stampin' Up. It has 2 settings, high and low. I'm using the low one right now. So I think that one should be good. I'm going to go ahead and hit this one a little bit. And I'm going to hit the flowers too, because they're still a little damp. And it also makes the leaves curl, which is an added bonus. It's a win-win. I'm going to hit this other one right here real quick. Heat these up, and then that way we can put our card together quicker. So if you end up getting some of this, you know what to do. And hopefully that's dry, since it flipped over on its front and it didn't leave any. There we go. Yes. I'm still not going to stick my fingers in it because it might still just be a little bit damp, and we don't want to make a mess, because my other one flew over here and got a little bit of speckles on here. But hey, what do I say? I love speckles, so that's an added bonus. I'm going to put these right here. My pick tool so I can get this one off without sticking my finger in it. Oh, hope it's dry. There we go. Nice. Okay. Get these out of the way, and we'll finish building our card. This is so cool. So we're going to go ahead and put our centers in here, and usually I put it on the back of the center, but I'm going to do it like this to keep my fingers out of it. Excuse me. That smoke really did a number on my allergies. The smoke was bad in Medina yesterday, really bad. So we're going to put this right here and press it down just a tiny bit. Isn't it cute? I love it. Then we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue in the center of this one. I'm going to bring this one in. I think it's pretty dry. So to me that seems to be up. And then we'll put that in the center here. Press it down just a tiny little bit. And let's build our card. So these two are going to go here and here. And then this one's going to go here. So let's bring in our leaves. So I think I'll change this one just a tiny little bit with these leaves. So this leaf right here ended up, oh, nope, must be this one. No, one of them I broke. Well, it must be somewhere else. Anyway, I think I'm going to shorten this up just a tiny bit for this one because I think it doesn't need all of that extra. So I think what I'm going to do is actually take that off. Save that for something else and then just use this piece right here. So let's go ahead and glue these down. Okay, we'll put the hello friend up at the top so we know where we want all of our pieces to fall. Put this one right up here. And then we're going to put this one right up here, right like that. Do just a tiny bit of glue. There. Put our shortened up flower leaf right there. Right there, right like that. Make sure your pieces don't go past the crease either, because you don't want them to get all bent up. And then we just put some glue in this one. Put that one down right like that. Bring in another leaf. I think I want that one shortened too. I'm going to take this one off. That's the great thing about these. You can just manipulate them and fix them however you want. I'm going to tuck that right under there, right like that. Yeah, I like that much better. And then we're going to put this one right over here. Center, and then just tuck our leaves in. And this I cut this with wax paper so it would release out of the die easier. So it's still got some of that in there, and I like the pieces to be popped out. Just wiggle them out. And then just add some glue. Go. Okay, let's tuck this in over here. Okay, we'll tuck this one in right over there. And I think I even shortened that one too. I'm going to shorten that one. I'm going to take that little piece off. I just don't think they need all that bulk. I like it much better like that. Pick the leaves up right like that. There we have it. I like it so much. I love this card. It turned out even better than I had envisioned. So I think anyone would be extremely happy to get this card. I'm actually putting some of my cards into a shop in Medina, and I'm gonna see if they want these ones because I think this one is absolutely beautiful for summer. So leave me a comment. Like I said, if you want to be added to my mailing list, just send me an email, and if you'd like the PDF, I can send that out. It's going to be for this one, but it's the same exact things, you know. You can watch the video and just change it up a little bit. I didn't make that many changes to this one, so you should be good. Just a speckling, I think it's just beautiful. I love it. Love how it turned out. So I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.